Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to Marvel's Dice Throne X-Men Edition. So this is the second group of characters from the Dice Throne series based on Marvel. We had the Avengers, or like Spider-Man, some adjacent characters there in the first series, and now we're doing 8 X-Men exclusive characters. So this is the big Ultimate box. They will be selling these in 2 packs as well. I'm assuming it's probably, I'm not sure exactly the order, how the 2 packs are going to be. I think it's Wolverine Storm, Psylocke Iceman, Gambit Rogue, and then Cyclops and Jean Grey. I believe that's how the 2 packs go, but I could be wrong on that. Or you buy the Ultimate Box, you can get all 8 characters at once. There's also an additional Deadpool box you can get separate if you want to get him by himself. But yeah, of course, if you're not familiar with what Dice Throne is, I do have other videos in the Marvel thing that kind of go over more of how the rules are played. But just as a quick, brief idea, it is a Yahtzee-ish dice rolling game. So if we kind of just do a quick glance in the rule book, uses the original Black Panther. Is each character is going to have a deck of cards that is unique. Half of it's unique to them. The other half is the same for every deck, like generic cards. And then what you do is throughout the game, you draw new cards, and then you get to play them. So you play the cards to help boost your dice rolls. But what you're doing is you're rolling a set of dice. Each character has their own set of dice. Their own hero sheet. They have their own tokens and abilities. But you're trying to roll for various different things. You get 3 of a kinds, high straights, large straights, small straights, various, just mixing and matching the symbols allow you to perform different abilities. And you're attempting to do is defeat your opponents. So there's generally supposed to be a 1-on-1 game. You can play teams 2 versus 2, or you could go a free-for-all, which is a little bit trickier, just so you don't gang up on people. There are also alternative modes you can play. Another video we'll be doing is Dice Throne's missions, which are brand new Marvel missions, which actually get to play as a cooperative mode. They all mix and match with the original Dice Throne, so all the Marvel mixes together if you want to just play Marvel. If you want to get the original Dice Throne, which has a bunch of unique, brand new characters, you can mix and match any of them. And they also have an adventure mode for that, which you get to like play through kind of like a dungeon crawler thing as a cooperative. Let's say, yeah, we'll go over kind of well over the other stuff in other available more, but each character has their own different tokens that do different things. They activate them. They have different abilities. So they'll play very different. But yeah, it's kind of a Yahtzee-ish dice rolling game, which is really cool. So we're just kind of grab one character here, just do a quick overview of what's in each box. So I'm going to move my camera back down a little bit here. So, for example, we have Wolverine. So each one comes in these nice little trays. And this is for current. I know in the future they're talking about doing different storage styles for some of these for just regular releases. But we get a big trifold board. I just have to zoom back out just a little bit more. Trifold board for each character. So like for Wolverine, it's gonna show what his basic skills are. So if he wants to use adamantium claws, he has to roll 3, 4, or 5 of the same dice for this to be able to do that much damage. But if he rolls 2 claws and 2 masks, he can do some healing. He does, these symbols and that. He gets those abilities. Just based on the different rolls you get. And like Yahtzee, I keep mentioning that because you get to roll 3 times. You roll once. Don't like your rolls, you can keep some dice, get rid of some roll simulations to try and get whatever symbol you can. And there's lots of times you might end up gambling on getting a certain symbol and you might not getting it. You might not even having attack that turn. And that's for some of the cards you can purchase come into play because they let you change the dice roll. So that's we get a trifold board. They'll get a little sheet on here to show what symbols are on their dice. So on each one of Wolverine's 6-sided dice. And we'll look at a little bit more of these closer up as we go through. But he'll have 3 claws, 2 adamantium, and 1 mask. So for him to try and get his claw attacks, it's going to happen relatively easy. Him to get a bunch of masks is going to be a little bit harder. And he has 2 different special abilities, which tell you how they all work. Some are unique stats effects, some are positive, some are negative. They go on your opponent. And then what they do. On the back side, they also give a little bit of bio about the character, rule clarification, so be a little bit more in-depth on how that character works, the components they all come with, as well as their rarity, or their complexity. So they're ranked somewhere between 1 and 6, depending on how difficult they are. The other thing every character will get is a combat point. So this is your currency you spend to play cards. So you keep track of this by going up and down. And a health dial. The little health dial to keep track of, how alive they are, of course. Then you're also going to get a little standee. These are used for the mission mode, or if you're playing adventure, so you have a little standee. In the base game, if you're just playing 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2, the standees are not used. They just included them, so you didn't have to buy a separate pack if you wanted to play one of the missions that use them. And then they get your little set of tokens. These trays are really nice because they hold everything in here very, very nicely for each different thing. You get your 6 dice. And then you get your stack of cards. So we have the first bunch. We have some different colors which work for different timings. So the first half of the deck will be the same for every character. Then the second half are upgraded and some more specific cards for each individual character. And now each character's have a little bit different things. So like Wolverine has 2 tokens, Jean Grey has about 5 or 6, Gambit has some extra cards, some have round tokens, some have unique shaped tokens. So very cool. So that's just a brief glimpse into what's in each box. So we're going to go through and do a multi-part video. We'll probably do 4 characters per box. We'll do 4 and 4. And then we will also do some other videos which have some promo cards, extra materials, as well as the Dice Throne missions. So check out all of the Dice Throne stuff. So let's go ahead and hop into this. Alright, so before I hop into any specific characters, I want to look at the base cards that are the same for every character. So then when I go to the next character, I don't have to re-go through those cards. So we're going to have a turn order card. So each character should have one of these just to keep track of how you play through the game. So you have your upkeep phase, which you resolve effects, your income phase, which you gain points, draw cards, and then each different step lets you know what color cards you can play. So during the 2 main phases, you can play your blue cards. During the orange phase, you can play your orange cards, and then red cards are instants, which can be played at any time. And then during these times, you only get the offensive is when you start rolling your dice to determine what type of attacks you make. And on the back side, we just have timing, showing main phase, roll phase, instants, status effects, which can be happen whenever they need to apply, and then purple, which are passive effects, which not every character has. So each card is also going to have the numbers up here, so it's have 4 letters for what character it belongs to. Version 1, in case they update these at any point. So even though these are all the same for Wolverine, will be the same for Gambit, Rogue, even going all the way back into the original Dice Throne with the Barbarian, Night Elf, Moon Elf, and stuff like that. They're all going to have the exact same cards. So even Marvel and the other ones are all going to share the same ones. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. So we have Transference. These are main action cards. These are things that are usually used to set you up for winning your next turn or before you roll your dice. So it's going to be 2 CPs, how many points it's going to cost to play it. And this says, transfer 1 status token effect from a chosen player to another chosen player. So this will let you take negative effects off of yourself and put them on somebody else, or steal somebody else's positive effect, which could help you win the game. What status effects? Remove all status effect tokens from a chosen player. Again, you can either remove all your negative or remove all your opponent's positive. The only thing you have to watch out for is, since it's remove all status effects, that if you have a negative and a positive, it's going to remove both of them. Vegas, baby. And we gotta watch these at cost free as well. Roll 1 dice, gain half the value of CP rounded up. So this lets you gain some extra points to spend cards. Get that out of here. Remove a status effect token from a chosen player. So this only lets you, then now you get to target a single one to get rid of. Then we have some instants here. So these can be cast whenever you need them to draw 3 cards. And this could then be used during your main phase. So if you want to grab some cards, so you're like, oh, okay, now I have this prep for my roll phase, or maybe you want to play it after your roll phase. Like, hey, that roll didn't go well. I need to refill my hand to help prep for my opponent's turn, or even play it during your opponent's turn, so you can maybe bluff them because they don't know if you have another instant that can stop them. We have double up, lets you draw 2 cards. Bye-bye. Remove a status effect token from a chosen player. Tip it. Increase or decrease any die of the value by 1. The value of 1 cannot be decreased and 6 cannot be increased. And that's what I love about these cards, is they're beneficial both directions. So, like, you can either, hey, I really needed to roll another 6, because I needed that symbol. You can flip it to the 6 for that. Or I have a small straight, but I'm 1 away from a large straight. You could flip your dice up or down the direction to get that. So it can definitely help you out get the die roll you need, but you can also use on your opponent. Hey, they rolled a really good attack. You could change one of their dice, so now that attack nullifies. And it might either reduce it to a lower attack, or it might nullify that attack completely. Or might have to make them spend an extra card or ability to re-roll that die. Getting paid lets you just gain 2 CP. Also, again, playing this on your opponent's turn. All of a sudden, they're like, oh, he has 0 things. I don't have to worry about him playing any cards. I'm saying you drop this, now they have to worry that you have something in your hand. Then we have some main phase. This is during the die rolling effects. So not this time. A chosen player prevents 6 incoming damage. So this can be helpful. Your opponent's rolling dice. You can use this to help prevent damage from hitting you. Twice as wild. Change the value of any 2 die. And this thing again, instead of just going up or down, you can change it to whatever you would like. Try again. You or a chosen teammate may reroll up to 2 dice. These can be the same dice twice in a row or 2 different dice. And they do mention teammates because there's cooperative modes, or if you're playing 2 versus 2 games. So wild. Change the value of any 1 die. Samesies. Change the value of one of your dice to be identical to the value of another one of your dice. One more time. A chosen player may perform an additional roll attempt up to 5 dice during the roll phase. So you normally only get to roll the dice 3 times. This lets you roll it a 4th time if you would need to. Helping Hand. Select one of your opponent's dice and force them to re-roll it. Better D. A chosen player may perform an additional roll attempt up to 5 dice during their defensive roll step. So this is only if you're trying to do a defensive roll. And then we have 6 it. Change one of the value of your dice to a 6. So some you can see cost a little bit more, cost a little bit less. Some of it has to depend on how quickly they can be activated, how much they affect. So like drawing 3 cards usually costs more than drawing 2, but drawing 3 cards during your main phase only might actually be cheaper than only drawing 2 cards during an instant because of how quickly you can do it. Same thing with changing die. Here you can only change a die to 6 is a little bit cheaper than being able to change it to anything, because changing to a 6 can definitely help you. Could even mess up your opponent. They were trying to go for the symbols that are all on 2s and 3s, and then you change one of their die to a 6, that can mess up their flow. Very interesting there. So cool. Alright, we'll look at the rest of the character cards after we look at the boards, because each one is going to be unique to that character. Alright, we're going to start by looking off at the old Knucklehead Wolverine. So that's a nice little trifold board here. So if we look at his sheet here, it's going to give us some information on him. So I'm not going to read through all the rule clarification. If you want to pause it and read through some of that, you can. He's a 2-star character, 2 dice complexity. He's really not that difficult to fight against. On the bottom here, we can see he has 5 rage tokens and 2 alpha tokens and a bonus hero token. That's his overall character. So what do his abilities do here first? So zoom this up this way a little bit. Alpha has a unique status token, so it's going to have the little Wolverine token. He basically just matches that. So roll one die and possibly skip income phase. When a player is inflicted with this token as a result of an attack, and their attacker immediately rolls one die. If the attacker rolls less, this token is removed. A player inflicted with this token must skip their income phase and then remove this token. This token may not be transferred by any means, but can be removed. So that's kind of cool. So basically, it just then their attacker each roll one. If the attacker's roll is less, this token is removed. So yeah, so basically just each one turn, it triggers on them and they have to skip their income phase, which means they don't get a draw, they don't get any extra money, they don't get to draw an extra card, which could definitely hinder them for a turn. Then we get Rage, positive status effect, stack limit of 3. So you have up to 3 of these at a time. Spend to add 3 damage or draw 1 card. Player this token may spend 1 and discard 1 card to add 3 damage to their attack modifier, or spend 3 to draw 1 card. So a little bit costly, but having it, just be able to sit there and have extra damage readily available to get these and just sit on you until you're ready to use them. His dice are going to be Claw, Claw, Claw on 1, 2, and 3, Adamantium on 4 and 5, and then a Mask on 6. So what do his abilities do? So his basic ones are Adamantium Claws. So he either does 4, 5, or 6 damage on a 3 of a kind he can heal. So by 3 of a kind means even if you roll, so if you have to roll 1, 2, and 3, so if you roll 3 2s, they're all claws, but if you roll 1, 2, and 3 to activate this, it wouldn't activate the 3 of a kind. So it kind of gives you that risk of, I have 3 claws, do I re-roll them to try and get that 3 of a kind as well. Then he just has to generate for 2 claws and 2 masks, heal 1, deal 3 undefendable damage. Remove one of your stats to token effects from yourself. Healing factor, 3 adamantium and a mask, heal 4, gain a rage, and draw a card. So Wolverine's got a lot of ways to keep himself alive. Hunter, 2 claws and 3 adamantium. Draw a card, deal 6 damage, roll 4 dice, gain 1 rage for each mask you draw or roll. Then he has his barrage. For a small straight, he heals 1, gains a rage, deals 5 damage. If he did a large straight, heal 2, gain a rage, and inflict alpha, and then deal 7 damage. And a straight is numerical order, so 1, 2, 3, 4, or 2, 3, 4, 5, or 4, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then large have to be 5 in a row. Power level 9. So if he gets 4 masks, which are 4 6s, which is not going to be super easy to do, just to heal 1, gain rage, inflict alpha, and then deal 6 undefendable damage. So it's kind of interesting to look at him and compare these two. So getting 5 dice with different numbers, or getting 4 of the exact same 6s. They both, this actually does a little bit more. It heals less, but you do both effects. And it does 6 undefendable damage versus this one. He has to choose which one to do, and only does 7, 1 more point of damage, but they can defend against it. So it's kind of interesting just what you can do there. And down here he has severe threat. So for 3 claws and 2 masks, deal 7 damage, and roll 3 dice. Add 1 damage for each claw you roll. On an adamantium, inflict alpha. On a mask, inflict 3 damage. So of the 3 dice, if you roll 3 alphas, or 3 adamantiums, you only get to do alpha once. You roll 3 masks. For each one, you're adding an additional 3 damage. Then we have Vegging. So this is his defense ability. So if he gets attacked, he gets to roll 3 dice, deal 1 unpreventable damage per claw, and on mask, gain rage. So this actually doesn't prevent, and this is why I love about the defense rolls. They don't always prevent damage. This just actually just lets him do extra damage back. He's basically more like, you're still going to hurt me, but I'm going to hurt you right back. And then finally, we have his ultimate ability. I'm the best at what I do, but what I do isn't very nice. His Berserker Rage, if he rolls all 6s, which is a Yahtzee. Heal 3, gain rage, and then deal 12 unpreventable damage. Damage for this attack may be divided amongst opponents in any way desired. So if he has multiple opponents, though, he can take out multiple guys. Ultimate attacks are basically, you get them, you're going to have a good chance of winning at that point, because it cannot be altered or prevented in any way, unless before you agree to do it, before you say, hey, I rolled 6 dice before you start initiating it, they'd have to change your dice rolls. But as soon as you're like, nope, I've started this attack, they cannot do anything to affect it. And 12 undefendable damage is a lot. I mean, if you look at that, it's essentially the equivalent of 2 turns of doing this, except that's defendable. Or you would have to get 2 turns of this, which does, a lot of the same stuff as well. Alright, so that's Wolverine's basic stuff. Here's one of his rage tokens, if we want to look at that little frowny face. Here is combat guile, so his point guile. You want to keep track of that, a little slashing through, very iconic Wolverine. And then we have his health guile. So let's take a look at his cards. Alright, zoom back down here. So Wolverine has some upgrades. So the upgrades are fun. Once you purchase them, they just go on the board, and now they do additional stuff. So, and I'm not going to go back and keep comparing these, but if we look at Adamantium Claws 1 and 2, so 2 does 3 dice, does 4, 5, and 6 damage. So the damage all stays the same, but instead of on 3 of a kind, now he heals 3, and on 4 of a kind, he heals 4. So it doesn't do any more damage, but it gives him a better healing effect. And then each one's going to kind of have a similar effect. Actually, you know what? We will just show all these off. So we have Barrage here. Barrage 2. So on a small straight, heal 1, gain rage, deal 7 damage. On a large straight, heal 2, gain rage, or put alpha, then deal 9. So this one just does more damage. For severe threat, we have deal 7 damage, roll 5 dice, add 1 damage times each claw on an Adamantium Inflict Alpha, on a Mask Inflict Rage, or gain 3 damage. So it just lets you roll 2 extra dice and then also potentially add that Rage. So here he has power level 9, so I'm going to have to flop it to this side. So heal 2, gain 2 rage, inflict alpha, and then deal 6 undefendable damage. So extra rage and extra healing. But it also gives level rising, so it adds a new ability on there. So now if he only rolls 3 masks, which is going to happen probably more often if you're trying to get them, you can gain 2 rage, inflict alpha, and then deal 1 undefendable damage. So not necessarily the best, but if you're trying to get your ultimate ability or power level 9 and you don't quite roll enough, or you're trying to do severe threat and you missed a claw and got a mask instead, it gives you an additional potential ability to use. And then his last upgrade is Vengeful 2. So now he gets to roll 4 dice instead, and then the effect stays the same. 1 damage, undefendable per each claw, and then on a mask he gains a rage. Alright, and then Wolverine's also going to have his own specific cards. Intimidate. Choose an opponent afflicted with alpha, must discard 1 card or take 4 damage. This is right here why alpha with a card like this is going to be a lot more powerful. Just making them skip their income phase isn't that much, but if you could play this on top of it. Is that all you got? Play only after being attacked. Gain 2 rage. If you were attacked with a defendable damage, you may choose to skip your defensive roll to gain 2 CP. Since there's a lot of healing, you might choose to do that. Fastball special. Attack modifier. So gain rage, receive 2 undefendable damage, but then add 2 extra damage. Recovery. So Wolverine has a special recovery. If this card is discarded as a result of spending rage, roll 2 dice. On a mask, return this card to your hand. Of course, very iconic image there, and he has a second one of those. So that's really fun. You already have the rage ability, which is going to force you to discard a card to do extra damage, and here it's going to let you potentially get this card back into your hands. It's like, hey, I can discard this card. Who cares? As I have a chance of keeping it back, so you can just keep reusing that over and over to keep discarding for rage. He has Astonishing Recovery. If this card is discarded as a result of spending rage, roll 2 dice on a mask, return this card to your hand. If no mask was rolled, you heal 2. And he's going to get Frenzy, and he has 2 copies of that. If this card is discarded as a result of spending rage, gain a rage token. So it just lets you keep using rage over and over. And then he has Astonishing Rage. If this card is discarded as a result of spending rage, increase the damage of that rage token from 3 to 4 and then gain rage. So that's a really neat way to use some of Wolverine's cards. Rather than giving him extra die rolls or manipulation, he has a card that literally, with his rage ability, wants him to spend a point and discard a card that had 3 damage. So what he can keep doing is if he has these other cards in his hand, he can discard them, and they're going to give him bonuses. Either give him that rage back, or let him get that card back so he can keep discarding that same one instead of his other cards he might want to use for something else. Alright, that is what we have for good old Wolverine. So let's go ahead and check out our next character. Alright, for our other character, we're going to look at good old Storm, Aurora Monroe. So let's go ahead and take a look at, well, before I look at her board, let's look at her abilities here. So on the back side, she's a complexity of 4, so a little bit more difficult than Wolverine. There's a bunch of her different effects there. She's going to have 8 lightning tokens, 5 tornado tokens, and 2 wind shear tokens. So of course she will also have her other little stuff in there, but she has little lightning tokens, which we'll get little lightning guys here. She'll have her tornado tokens. So you just look like the picture, so I don't really need to show them, I guess. And then wing shear. So lightning is a companion, so it's a special thing. Activate ability bonus effects or deal damage. If an offensive ability has the outline of a lightning token, so a little black version next to its name, it may be charged. When the lightning is gained, place a token on one of these spaces to charge that ability. When the charged ability is activated, you may remove the lightning, performing activate the charged effect. If there are ever 2 lightning tokens on a single ability, immediately remove them both and deal 2 damage as an isolated source of undefendable damage to chosen opponent. When multiple lightnings are gained simultaneously, they're placed 1 at a time. So, you have them on there. You basically either spend them to do an extra bonus on the effect, or you're eventually going to have to just release them. And the thing what's going to happen, though, is if you keep not performing the ability enough, or you keep performing ones that don't have lightning bolts, eventually they're all just going to start getting lightning bolts. You're going to have to start spending them. She has Tornado, a positive status effect. Gaining opponent's dice for your roll attempt. A player with this token may spend it at the start of their offensive roll step. For each token spent gaining an opponent's die, these dice may be included in all roll attempts during this offensive roll phase. So that's pretty cool. It's going to give you some extra die rolls. But one thing to keep in mind there, that's only going to help you for large straights and small straights. Because obviously, if you're trying to get one of the symbols, your opponent's dice won't have them. Wing shear. Positive effect, redirect damage to any opponent. A player, this token may spend it when being attacked to prevent 2 incoming damage. Then choose an opponent to receive 2 damage as an isolated source of undefendable damage. So you just throw this on yourself, prevent 2 damage, and then they take 2 damage back. So she's going to have her different dice here. She'll have the wing side, which takes 3 of them. She'll have 2 rain, and then a cyclone. So very common, like most guys, 3, 2, and 1. Yeah, it's just some really neat looking dice with the kind of like black marble effect on there. And I love all the colors on there. When using opponent's dice here, consider you want to be stored for the purpose of dice altering card effect. Since the opponent dice will have different symbols, these stores only benefit providing the numbers, except for a mirror match. Which also means the opponent's dice cannot help Silver activate her ultimate. Okay, exactly what I thought. Just wanted to clarify that. Alright, so her abilities are Lightning Field for 3, 4, or 5 winged. she'll have 5, 6, or 7 damage. And then up at the top, it'll be the little lightning bolt. So if you charge that, she can also add an additional 3 damage. So that's pretty powerful. She could potentially do anywhere from 8 to 10 damage if she gets that charge. But she has to play something to charge it first. And then she's not going to be able to charge it with those attacks unless she has a card in her hand. It's probably going to be like an every other turn type thing. Light it up. So for winged, 2 rain. Is it rain? Yeah. And 1 cyclone. Roll 5 dice. For each winged, gain a lightning token, which you can then place all over the place. For each double rain, gain a tornado. And for each cyclone, gain a lightning. If it's charged, you can also gain a wing shear token. So this is a main one you're going to want to use to get all your lightning effects. She has Thunderstorm down here. For 2 wind and 3 rain, gain 2 lightning, deal 7 damage, and then charge, also gain 2 tornadoes. Opposites attract for 3 wind and 2 cyclones. Gain 3 tornado, roll 2 dice. Deal damage equal to the total value. Charge effect. After rolling, you may reroll 1 or both of these dice. For Gust, for her large and small straight, gain a wind shear, deal 6 damage, and then gain the tornado effect. If you do a large straight, gain wind shear, deal 8 damage, and gain 2 tornadoes. For 4 cyclones, she has Blizzard, gain 3 tornadoes, deal 8 damage, and in charged effect, this attack becomes undefendable. So it's kind of neat. So her attacks, lots of her stuff is just going to rely on getting to be able to use her charged effects to basically boost up her other abilities. Maelstrom for the largest straight. So this is going to be very hard to pull off without using them tornadoes. But if you get them tornadoes, if she can have up to 4 of them, you can usually grab 3, 4 extra dice. Like here you're gaining 1, here you're gaining 2, there you're gaining 3. So you can probably get this large straight very easy if you start getting extra dice. Deal 10 damage. Place a lightning token up to 4 different offensive abilities, excluding this one. If you're charged to this one as well, gain 1 CP and draw a card. And then her defensive roll. She has a Tempestuous, so she rolls 5 dice. On 3 wind, gain a tornado. On 2 rain, prevent 2 damage. On a cyclone, gain a lightning bolt. So, very interesting, because we saw like Wolverine's was, you gotta do some extra damage, but his are pretty low. She needs to gain 2 rain just to prevent 2 damage. So if she rolls 5 dice and she only rolls 1 rain, she doesn't do anything. If she rolls 3, she only gets to prevent 2. So like best she can do is prevent 4 damage, but then she wouldn't, if she got 4 of them, then she wouldn't ever be able to do tornado. So yeah, very interesting on how that's all gonna kind of work. Then for her ultimate ability, a storm is gathering, fear its fury. Tempest, which you can also charge. Gain 2 tornadoes and wind shear and deal 12 damage. Charge effect, gain additional tornado and add 2 extra damage. So it can potentially go up to 14 damage. Very cool. Very powerful as well. So then before we hop into her deck, we have her CP dial. We have her health dial. We have her little standee as well. And then let's look at her specific cards. Again, we'll have all of our generic cards that everybody has. And if we zoom back down into here, we have Lighted Up 2. So let's find Lighted Up on the board here. We'll kind of hold it like that for a moment. So Light It Up. So the new one says, which is the card over here, I'll maybe move it up a bit so we can keep it. So gain a lightning bolt and a tornado, then roll 5 dice. And then each wind gains you lightning, each double rain gives you a tornado, each cyclone gives you a lightning, and gain a wind shear. So it does the same thing, but just getting it gets you a lightning bolt and tornado. So even if you roll terrible, you at least potentially get an effect out of it. Awesome. And then she has Thunderstorm 2. So she gains 3 lightning, deals 7 damage, and gains 3 tornadoes. So just up a little bit of effects there. But she also gains static, so she gains a little bit more wind than rain. She can just have wind, shear, tornado, and gain 3 lightning. So it doesn't do damage, but those upgraded abilities are nice, because if you roll a little bit worse, like you're trying to get thunderstorms, you want to do the damage, but you rolled an extra wind, at least you have an opportunity of doing something during your turn, which is always a nice thing to have. Then we have Gust 2. So gain a wind shear, deal 7 damage, and gain a tornado. And then Large Straight says gain a tornado and a wind shear, deal 9 damage, and then you can gain 2 tornadoes. So ups the damage and adds extra damage and a tornado as well. Opposite to Track 2, that I think was back down on this side, so we'll kind of do that again. Getting 4 tornadoes, roll 2 dice, deal damage equal to the total roll. Charge effect after rolling may roll 1 or both dice. And then it also adds Forceful. Gain a tornado and deal 4 undefendable damage. So again, you're trying to get the 3 wind and 2 cyclone and you miss a wind. At least you have something else you can do. There's a possibility that maybe you just want to deal the 4 undefendable damage rather than gaining 2 tornadoes. Or rolling the 2 dice. Because obviously rolling 2 dice, you could potentially do more damage, right? Because you could roll 2 6s and do 12 damage. You could roll bare minimum, you could roll, 2 1s, you have 2 damage. You could do 3, and you could roll 4, so you have a pretty decent chance of at least doing 4. But it's also the difference between defendable and undefendable. It might be worth doing potentially less damage than rolling the 2 dice, just to be able to do straight damage that they can't block against. And then our last one is we're going to upgrade Blizzard to Blizzard 2, so gain 3 tornadoes, deal 7 undefendable damage, charge effect, add 3. So this is kind of neat, because the original one, it only does 8, this does less, but it's undefendable, and it adds 3 more, so it becomes 10, where the original one just became undefendable. So it's always great to upgrade any of these. And then it also gets you Drizzle, in case you don't roll enough Cyclones, getting 3 tornadoes and 3 lightning. And basically at 3 lightning, they'll turn around and charge all your effects, it's just then when you do hit them, they're going to be that much more powerful. Alright, then for the rest of her cards, we have Uncanny. Charge your Maelstrom and Tempest abilities. This is a straight up way to charge 2 of your abilities. Dynamic Nature. Remove 1 lightning and roll 3 dice. Gain 1 CP for every wind rolled. On a rain, draw 1 card. On a cyclone, gain a wind shear. Twister. Gain 3 tornadoes. Gale Force. Attack modifier. Roll 4 dice. Add 1 damage for each wind. On a cyclone, gain a tornado. Lightning Strike. If the ability you are activating is not already charged, activate its charged effect. Super Tornado. Remove 3 tornadoes to gain 5 of your opponent's dice for the duration of your offensive roll step. Interesting. So normally you only be able to gain 1 dice each. This lets you gain 5 dice. Raging Winds. Remove the tornadoes to double the effect of the next wind shear you spend this turn. My Tippet. Increase or decrease one of your dice by the value to not result in 6. So that's kind of neat. So she gets a copied ability from the main stuff. And the last one is Tsunami. You may reroll up to 3 dice. Can be the same or different. Yeah, okay, you just want to make sure the tornado, you only steal them for the offensive roll, so it doesn't reduce your opponent's turn. Awesome. Alright, so that's what we have for Wolverine and Storm for this video. Went a little bit longer than I thought, so we'll do these in pairs of 2, so come back next time and check out 2 more X-Men. See you guys later. Bye.